Welcome to Vegas, the city without clocks. In the casinos, anyway. Here at CSI, time is something we pay close attention to, because the early hours of a murder investigation are key. As our newest crime scene investigator, your credentials are strong, but the proof is in your performance.
Gil, we've got a situation over... Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Catherine Willows, let me introduce you to our newest CSI. Now, what have you got for us?
Art gallery owner by the Strip with an unexpected exhibit on his showroom floor. A dead body. Possible homicide.
Thanks, Kath. Okay, I'm partnering you with Warwick Brown on this case. He'll help show you the ropes. But your own CSI skills are what we're counting on to crack this case. Catherine, I have lab work to get back to. Would you supervise this case?
You got it, Gil.
And you should head to that art gallery now. Oh, and remember, as G.K. Chesterton once said, the criminal is the creative artist, the detective only the critic.
Hey, I'm CSI Warwick Brown. I'm glad to have some help on this one. We got a dead Vic on the floor, and a live gallery owner waiting in the sidelines. Are you ready? Good. Pay close attention. We're in the art world, and if you don't know how to look at something, you won't understand what it means. The Vic's face down. Spatter pattern on the wall close by indicates blunt force trauma. Take a photo of this. It's always good for future reference. You're going to need an angle that shows the Vic's position in relation to the spatter. Too pretty, too young, and way too dead. Pay close attention to the body. There could be evidence anywhere from head to toe. No wallet, cash, or ID. Could this be a glorified mugging? Whoa. With a rock like that left behind, I doubt we have a robbery. This was personal. The blood flowed from the head wound and naturally pooled around her. That suggests she bled to death right here. You'll want a different tool for that. I want you to note the blood spatter here. For a visual pattern like this, you'll want to use the digital camera. Then you can get the blood afterwards. Well, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, we got several thousand here telling us what went down. The Vic was hit at least twice. Pattern in her position relative to it tells us so. The first blow probably caused the puncture wound and sent her to the ground. The second blow, while she was down, created the blood spatter. Hey, do you need a hint? That's no human hair. It's too thick. Some kind of animal, maybe.
This is the Nathan Ackerman Fine Art Studio, and I am Nathan Ackerman. My art, displaying the creativity and, on occasion, the genius of my exhibitors, in a setting that is itself a work of art.
Do you mind if we ask you a few questions?
Please do. Consider me your host and ally. Don't hesitate to ask if I can help you resolve this affair quickly and cleanly.
I'll see what we can do. But, Mr. Ackerman, there's nothing clean about murder.
I was out briefly on an errand, and to my devastation, I discovered a client, Rachel Maddox, dead on my gallery floor. You must understand that this is a crushing blow. Rachel was an excellent client and a dear friend. I can't imagine who would do such a thing. Perhaps a vagrant or one of these psychopathic killers you read so much about? Rachel was about to be a bride. She had commissioned a painting and a sculpture, both of herself, for her wedding from one of my best artists. Unfortunately, he can also be one of my slowest artists, and Rachel and her fiancé were, well, let's say, fit to be tied that the art pieces, which were due some time ago, were not ready. I had an emergency overnight artwork delivery to ship. I needed to leave by 5 p.m., but Rachel was adamant we had to wait for the artist to come. I really shouldn't have left the two of them alone in the gallery, but they were respectable clients. Anyway, Rachel, refused to leave. She said she was staying put just in case. I believe her words were, "Irresponsible ass of an artist does me the supreme favor of showing up." So that's how I came to leave the two of them here, and I had intended to be back before we closed at 6. As it was 6:10 before I returned and found the door wide open and Rachel in this terrible posture. As for her fiancé, he was nowhere to be seen. This is the most ghastly thing that has ever happened at the Nathan Ackerman Fine Art Studio. What kind of mad beast are we dealing with here? Her fiancé is one Mark Stock, a taciturn fellow with a physique worthy of a Greek sculpture and just about as talkative. Frankly, he has the personality of a doorstop and the artistic taste of a hillbilly. Forgive my candor. The man does have his admirers. He's an ex-baseball player of some kind, from the minor leagues, I believe. As I said, he was here with Rachel when I left, but when I returned, she was alone and dead. Patrick Milton. Many of the works in this showroom are in fact his. He is not a critical darling, considered by some too commercial, but the public loves him, and as long as they do, so do I. Ah, that was the spark that lit the fuse of the argument between Rachel and Mark. The artist had vowed to be here with the finished painting and sculpture first thing this morning, but he didn't show up at all, not the first time, and Rachel flew into a rage when he did not appear. Heavens, our association goes back years, almost a decade. Quite frankly, he's the star here. I've displayed and sold hundreds of his works. I could have sold more, but he misses so many deadlines. No matter how hard I've tried to breed professionalism into his artist's soul, I failed. Still, it does sell. Ridiculous as it might seem, no. I have never once, in all the years of our very successful association, even seen his studio. As I say, he's quirky, private to the point of reclusiveness. Oh, but of course I have a phone number and a P.O. box. He wants his checks, after all.
That'll be enough to track him. Thanks, Mr. Ackerman.
My fingerprints are all over this gallery, both literally and figuratively. As I said, I intend to cooperate fully. My life is an open book. Yes, they were having an argument about the art, which was unusual as Mr. Stock had never expressed an opinion from the beginning. Now he was making a stand. He said it was foolish to make such a fuss, and the wedding could easily go on without these silly pieces. But Rachel wasn't having any of that. In Mr. Stock's words, he can sound rather shrill for such a strapping specimen of masculinity. He said Rachel had become unreasonable and out of control over the artist not showing up. And, well, honestly, he had a point. She did have that side to her. Understand, I was very fond of Rachel, but frankly, some of the invective she hurled was directed not just at her fiancé, but, if you can imagine, at me. Fortunately, a truce between the betrothed had come to pass before I had to leave. They were even, shall we say, affectionate. I felt comfortable enough leaving them alone. The storm had blown over, and they were like lovebirds again. No, I'm sorry, no.
What happened to full cooperation? Your life an open book?
My life is an open book, that I pledge to you. But I can't allow this door to be opened. I may seem inconsistent, but there are many expensive, even priceless objects dark back there, and I cannot risk damage. Particularly when I see no relevance to your investigation, since it's been locked throughout this entire unfortunate affair. I'm sorry, unless you have a warrant, I just can't allow you to go flinging your fingerprint powder around and spritzing your various sprays. To me, Mark Stock would be an enigma if he had a higher IQ. During their tiff, he seemed cold, emotionless. He's one of those passive-aggressive types who occasionally erupt, but in a strange, distant way, unleashing a torrent of abusive language, but delivering that invective in a controlled, cruel manner, seemingly devoid of any feeling. They visit Vegas frequently, weekend getaways, on which they invariably stop by my gallery to do business. Rachel did so love art. What was the question? No, I have no address. They flew in for their wedding, and I have no idea at which hotel, though it will certainly be one of the pricier ones.
Hey, do you need a hint? I might be able to help you, but just a heads up. It could count against you in your evaluation. A good idea to be thorough, but nothing's there.
Sure, I'll send a team right out. Blunt force trauma, back of the head. Wound's interesting, an irregular shape, somewhat triangular. It's the murder weapon's signature. Here's something you might find interesting. A small piece of foreign fibrous material. Definitely not skull. Well, based on the victim's liver temperature, dead less than 2 hours. Under ideal conditions, the body cools 2 degrees the first hour, then 1 degree after that. So we can put it around 5:30 p.m. Way ahead of you. Taking fingerprints off a victim's body is part of my routine. Here you are. Toxicology tests show high concentrations of diazepam, a benzodiazepine commonly prescribed for anxiety disorders. Well, it's not entirely unusual, but your prospective bride already had a honeymoon, semen in the vaginal canal. No forced entry, presumably consensual sex. I've got a sample for you. Of course. Glad to have your perspective. I've got nothing new to report on the Vic.
We've done all we can with that item. That should go on the trace analysis computer. Why don't you try the DNA analyzer? We've done all we can with that item. Why don't you try the DNA analyzer? Why don't you try the DNA analyzer? Those two aren't quite a match. Try to be more sure before you ask me for confirmation. It's all about the details. Those two aren't quite a match. Try to be more sure before you ask me for confirmation. It's all about the details. Those two aren't quite a match. Try to be more sure before you ask me for confirmation. It's all about the details. Those two aren't quite a match. Try to be more sure before you ask me for confirmation. It's all about the details. So, Rachel and her fiance did kiss and make up tonight. Evidence of sperm shows Mark scored a home run. But look at this. He's got a record with a history of violence. So let's get brass on this bad boy. Wall spatter matches the Vic's blood. It's a start. Links her to the crime scene. Now this should work in the comparison microscope. Hey, do you need a hint? Squirrel hair, commonly used to make paintbrushes. Maybe we should find our reclusive artist. Those two aren't quite a match. Try to be more sure before you ask me for confirmation. It's all about the details.
We've tracked every hotel and resort in Vegas. No small task. But we've got them registered at the Romanov, which is also where their wedding and reception was scheduled. Mark Stock's here to identify his fiance's body. He says he's eager to help. So let's give him the chance.
We know this is difficult, Mr. Stock. You have our condolences.
You don't have to pretend to feel anything. You didn't know Rachel. Who did this to her?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out, sir. Best we can tell, you were the last person to see her alive.
That's not true.
Then who was Mr. Stock?
Her killer, of course. Look, I was only with Rachel another maybe 15 minutes after Ackerman went off to mail a package or something. I had a previous engagement.
And what was that?
My bachelor party at Orgasma.
You mean the strip joint?
Yeah. You think a bachelor party's going down at a library or maybe a church basement? A guy I used to play ball with recommended him to me. Some favor. As far as I'm concerned, Ackerman's a pretentious sleazeball. His word's as good as the paper it isn't written on, if you get me. And this crap with him and this clown Milton, I don't remember when I was ever so frustrated. Listen, I loved Rachel. I worshipped that woman. But she had a temper like a rabid monkey, and when Ackerman and Milton started jerking us around over that work, man, Rachel went off like a bomb. When that girl got mad, whoa, she'd get in your face and your eyeballs and teeth would melt. She wanted her natural beauty preserved forever, displayed at the reception so her family and friends and the whole damn world could see her towering majesty. She insisted that damn artist would show up, and the owner was off on his errand. He left the keys with us in case he wasn't back by 6 so we could lock up for him.
He gave you the keys to the gallery?
Yeah, Rachel and me were supposed to lock up at 6. Ackerman headed out with his package, we had our little fling in back, and then, well, I had a bachelor party to go to. Oh, you know, just had our fun with some cheap champagne. I was a cocky kid, a college star who wound up in the minor leagues. I was too damn dumb to know I should just pay my dues like everybody else. And I made a lot of enemies, throwing my weight and my temper around. And I paid the price for it. That incident got me blacklisted from the league and ended any hope of a major league career. And it was my own damn fault, okay? And since then, hey, man, you're looking at a pacifist.
But maybe you had a relapse, snapped under all this wedding pressure.
After that bust, I started seeing a court-appointed shrink, and I am Mr. Chill now. Nothing gets to me, not even Rachel's temper. I look back on how I used to be, and man, I was not cool. I was a world-class ass. That's not me anymore. I loved Rach, and her family was going to set me up in a sporting goods shop that would have given me a whole new lease on life. You think I would have flushed that down the John like I did my baseball career over an argument about some damn artwork? No way, man. No way. I didn't kill her. I loved her. But there is one situation where I might lose it again. Might have, what'd you say? A relapse.
How's that?
When you catch this bastard, if I get my hands on him, no guarantees, man. No guarantees. Of course. We're on the same team, guys. Find who did this. Find him.
It's a nice pad. It's not what I expected, though. This girl spends thousands on artwork for the wedding, but she opts for the junior suite? People and their priorities. Wow, the European honeymoon of a lifetime. Not anymore. A good idea to be thorough, but nothing's there. Brass can track down this number for us. A good idea to be thorough, but nothing's there. Hey, do you need a hint? Hey, do you need a hint?
That phone number was to a ticket theater broker. A clerk there remembers Rachel arguing with her about ticket prices. Our friendly neighborhood art dealer opened the gallery 12 years ago, and his record's clean. I found some online reviews saying Ackerman's an overcharging, tasteless fraud. But hey, that's no crime. Even a self-proclaimed genius like Patrick Milton can't escape the electric company. And we got his address from their bill. Here you go.
Hey, do you need a hint?
And if I am?
Las Vegas Crime Lab. Murder investigation. Are you Patrick Milton?
Yes, all right, yes. I'm Patrick Milton, but I don't know anything about a murder, you say?
Yes, sir. We have a few questions. You mind?
You better make yourself clear about how this supposedly involves me, because I'm on a deadline. I'm an artist on commission here, and I have a painting to finish, and I'm trying to grab a window of solitude while these damn construction workers are on break, whatever they're doing. My God, the noise lately here. What? Which commissioner? You don't mean Rachel? You don't mean Rachel Maddox, do you? It's not possible. There's no one on the planet more alive than Rachel. How did it happen?
Blunt force trauma, Mr. Milton. The murder weapon may have been a statue, possibly one of yours. The perched predator is missing from the gallery.
My lord, no. The hours, the months that went into that? Was it stolen? Please tell me it wasn't destroyed. It's one of my most valuable works. Well, right here, of course. I mean, I practically live in this studio. The demands on me as an artist are unceasing. Haven't you talked to my patron, the esteemed Nathan Ackerman? He called me and tore me a new one, and I decided the best thing to do was to stay home and get this painting and sculpture completed before Rachel's wedding day. I've been bunkered in here slaving ever since. My intention was to deliver everything tomorrow, right before the wedding. I couldn't see wasting time dealing with Rachel. There was a lot to admire about her, her spirit, her intelligence, but she was frankly the worst-tempered woman I ever met. The most difficult client I ever encountered. I figured the less contact with her, the better. That's it, and it's going well. I'm almost done with it, but I guess there isn't any hurry now. Pity. Despite her ugly side, Rachel was a beautiful woman and a worthwhile subject. I live and work alone, but you already know I had no reason to leave until this artwork was finished. Haven't you been listening? Actually, yes. The Maddox Stocks wedding commission is only part of what I have on my plate. And I've been battling headaches and back problems, what with all this horrendous construction racket going on, starting at 7 a.m., including weekends. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to concentrate? Well, it began cordially enough. She was a big admirer of my work, owned a number of my bird and animal sculptures. She approached me to do these special paintings to be displayed at her wedding reception. And I told her I rarely did the human form. I'm a nature artist, you see, and I have a knack for just slightly idealizing reality. Well, she did have her charming side, you know, and she said, well, I'm one of nature's best works of art. Are you up to capturing me? How could I turn her down? And the money wasn't bad either. And as I say, I would have delivered the painting and sculpture on time. Nick of time, but on time. Right at the reception ballroom. I'm almost done now.
Did you contact Rachel or Ackerman to tell them about this change of plans?
No. And before you condemn me as rude and egocentric, let me just say, you never had a deal with Rachel Maddox. You have no idea the hoops she made me jump through. Sounds unkind now that she's dead, but really, I wanted to keep her waiting. Let her, no other way of saying this, suffer a little, like I had. Let her squirm and stew. But my lord, I would never wish anything like this upon her. In a word, rocky. She was a lovely girl, but rich and spoiled. At the beginning, she posed live for me. She was so demanding. Kept leaving her modeling pedestal to see what I was doing. Literally look over my shoulder. That, oh hell, that was just maddening. Finally, I just banished her from my studio. I'd already taken photographs of her in the desired pose, and these were sufficient reference. And photos don't talk back, nag, or interfere with the artistic process in any way. I usually use red sable, but I probably have a few squirrel brushes, yeah.
The victim's clothing revealed a paintbrush hair.
And you consider that unusual in an art gallery. You have any idea how many artists work in this town? Hundreds. And you'll find thousands of squirrel hair brushes. Good luck to you. Look, I'll cooperate. I know you have a job to do. But understand that I have a job to do myself. Take what you want, and then please leave me to my work to myself. Art doesn't happen. It's a struggle, and I need my solitude. And it may seem callous, but I consider finishing my artwork a higher priority than finding whoever killed Rachel Maddox. Dig into her life, and you'll find as many people not sorry to see her dead as you will squirrel hair brushes.
Hey, do you need a hint?
Once you've got enough evidence, I'll hit up a judge.
There's more to be done with that item before we can process it. There's more to be done with that item before we can process it. There's more to be done with that item before we can process it. There's more to be done with that item before we can process it. There's more to be done with that item before we can process it. Hey, do you need a hint? I might be able to help you, but just a heads up. It could count against you in your evaluation.
Yes. Why? Is that a problem?
Why did you leave this out of the report?
Oh, well, frankly, I forgot all about that.
There were no keys on her body.
Well, I took them, actually. They were my property, after all, and I didn't see how they could be important. Nothing sinister about it, just an oversight, my failing to mention it. Surely you can understand I'm a bit flustered after all of this. Yes, I'm sorry, of course.
There's more to be done with that item before we can process it. There's more to be done with that. There's more to be done with.
Once you've got enough evidence, I'll hit up a judge.